I will call the meeting to order. Its agenda, date, time, and location were properly announced. Thank you all for coming. If you want to talk during the public comments, we'd ask you to sign in. Otherwise, you don't need to sign in. Alrighty, we will start off with the approval of the minutes of April 28th, 2022 regular meeting and the May 2nd, 2022 board retreat. Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Rini, is there a second? Katie, any questions, corrections? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the payment of the bills. Is there a motion to approve, let's see, for the month of April, the amount of $898,562.52? Katie, is there a second?
I'll second.
Rini, any questions or discussion?
Yes, we do on this one. So if you look on, what page was it? I think it was the second page of the checks. There is a Kalahari Resort that looks like somebody went and had a lot of fun for about $19,800. So, Patty, do you wanna talk a little bit about the Kalahari thing, how that slipped down?
For some reason, Skyward must have pulled the last transaction from US Cellular that was on the credit card and put it as on the last line. It should be US, that was, I mean, not US Cellular, US Bank, that was our credit card payment for the total money. It was not all to the Kalahari.
Yeah. So we have a couple cause I started doing the math after your phone, like, and it called Sam. Looking at doing, did you get your mail today? Did the surveys come in the mail today? Okay, so in the next couple days, it should be before the end of the week, our community, everyone that lives in our attendance area will be getting a survey. And the survey is asking our community, what level of a referendum would they support, if anything at all? So, right now, our district, with some of the things that, we've been able to do, prepaying debts and all this other good stuff, we're at a place where, we can actually go to a referendum for about $30 million and not raise taxes one penny. Which is a really nice piece that we've done with some leveraging and words like defeasance and things like you'll hear later on. So from that, we're going out to the community and saying, hey, for 30, and actually the base plan is 33 million. So, for a little over that 30 million, we can revitalize the school, we can create 21st century experiences in our classroom, we can do infrastructure things like, take care of parking lots, we can take laterals out to the road and do new things, new parking lots in the front, worry about safety, have a single entrance, and find some ways to create efficiency. But then the survey is also gonna ask other questions like, on top of the base plan, would the community support air conditioning, $2.2 million to air conditioning? It's something that's been in multiple referendums through the last couple of years. That would equal 22 cents per thousand valuation of a house. And we want the community to say yes, no. You know, I have my own thoughts on it, but it's one of those things, is that worth the money? The next one we're asking about is synthetic turf for a soccer/football field on the current football field. That's 1.7 million, which would be about a 17 cents increase. We're asking our community, is that something that you would support, that you'd like to see? The third question is, if we do the synthetic turf and create a soccer/football field, would we like to see softball come onto our campus? That's 700,000, so that's around 6 cents increase, 7 cents to our valuation. And then the last question that actually came to us from the community was about an indoor practice facility. There's a group of community members that said, since you're going for a referendum, can we ask the community if they would support something like Plymouth has, like you're seeing in other communities, where it's an indoor facility where baseball, softball, you know, all sports can practice. Rhinelander has done something similar up there. But the price tag for that is $8 million. And we said to that group, you know what, I don't even wanna take that question. I think we decided we didn't wanna take that to the community. But if we could fundraise for half of it, would the community support paying for half, and which would be 44 cents for that? So the survey right now is feedback for us as a board, and you'll have about 2.5 weeks to fill out the survey. And whatever, if the survey comes back and we see base plan, I get it, yes, air conditioning, no, synthetic turf, no, indoor practice facility, yes, we will then use that information to craft a question that we will vote on in November. So we're really looking for advice from our community on how to move forward. What did I miss from what you guys had heard before?
Just a lot of facility upgrades,
Yeah.
but it's gonna look, it's gonna look very different or feel different for our students in their classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And, there will be a little bit of an addition onto the building.
Yep. We're doing a lot around, we understand we're in a declining enrollment environment, so we have fewer, we've gone from graduating classes of 70 to now the next 10 years around 50 is what we're gonna have. So knowing that, we're trying to create some efficiencies. So the first thing we're doing is bringing all of our offices together. Currently, we man an elementary, a middle school, and a high school central office. Bring all the offices together into a single entry. That means we have more safety because people are only coming in and out of one, and we don't have to man 3 separate offices. And then off of that would be a new multi-purpose room that would, it would actually support 2 lunches instead of 3. Right now, we feed our students in 3 lunches, and our middle schoolers eat lunch at 10:40. We could actually reduce lunchtime and have like 11 and 11:30 gang, and have people eat lunch when lunch you're supposed to do, and shorten up those times you have to come in for preparing and things like that. So I think we're trying to be very forward thinking on where are we gonna be in 10 years and how is this gonna make us more efficient as we go forward.
I like the whole busing thing. Changing the whole way the busing is, straightening that out.
Oh, with the road.
With
going
the
Yeah,
road in the back,
yeah,
yep,
but
yep.
that's been necessary for a long time.
My
Yeah.
first couple of years, having bus and cars in the front was probably my number one call.
Yeah.
How can we separate, how can we separate? And we now, the proposed budget would have a road going out to II, and having easement to get over there. And, by doing that, we can separate cars and buses. In winter, we don't have to worry about buses turning around and all that other good stuff in the back, so, yeah,
No longer an accident waiting to happen.
right. Do you guys have any questions that you have from that?
Mike, I understand that you projected within the next 10 years, enrollment will continue to decrease to graduating class of 50?
Well, we are, like, our graduating class this year is 50. Next year, our graduating class will be in the 70s, and everything from there it's right around the 40s to 50 all the way through. So, we've gone through that declining enrollment. When I got here, we knew we had these 70s and 60s, and they were being replaced with the 50s. We're seeing now all the way down to our pre-K. Actually, we have some of our best pre-enrollment pre-K that we've had in some time that we're seeing. So I see it's kind of balancing out for a few years, but those larger classes have now moved on.
I'm gonna talk about like being hopeful that something like this might bring more people to it, maybe?
Well, right, and I think that's part of it too, is we're seeing more action happen in our community than we've seen in many, many years. I think there's some potential large things that could happen here, and, I think that's when that community group came up to us about the indoor practice facility. It was, hey, how do we draw people to this? How do we make this a magnet? I know when Rhinelander did it, talking to the superintendent up there, that's the place to go. And I'm sure winters are even more harsh up there than they are here, but that's the place to go on Friday night. They do, little baseball tournaments and all this other stuff on there. So, yeah, so that's really, we would be, to me, the indoor facility are one of those things like, let's ask the question. But I don't think I personally have my hopes up for anything except the base plan. Like, let's make sure we get this up to where the standard everyone else is, and to that point. And then some of these other fringe things, let's see what our community supports.
Anyone else have any thoughts or questions? Are you going out on
Friday,
Friday?
I will be out at Midway Eats to just kind of have one-on-one conversations. So if you don't want to ask here, you want to come out, I can buy a soda or something else. We can kind of talk one-on-one if you guys would like to talk there. I'll be there until graduation. So I'll be back here to make sure we get everybody off. But from 2 to 5, I'll be there, so. Okay.
So just answering questions and,
Just answering questions and, things like this, like what enrollment, I'm sure everybody has a little different questions on how it's coming. We were really, when initially, we were hoping that the surveys would've hit everybody's mailboxes on Friday, cause then they would've had a chance to read it and kinda understand a little bit more. But everyone will get a chance to read it by Friday, and then by Friday, and then we'll see what comes up from there.
okay.
One thing, is there any kind of projection as to how much enrollment could increase by having these facility upgrades? Or has nobody really thought of that?
It's really, enrollment is dependent on growth in our community. We need more rooftops. It's not like we have vacant houses, all houses are here. I've heard many years, the last few years being here, I'd love to come to your district, but I can't find a house. So, knowing what we're doing on North Drive and some other projections that are out there, you could see, the thing is we're doing some things for 10 years down the road. You look at Oostburg. Oostburg was in the very similar community that we were 20 years ago, but did some of these things. And now they're at a place that's, they're not accepting open enrollment in some areas because they're full. You know, some of the individuals there, their subdivisions are full, they're selling houses. It's my 2 cents, Hoosburg, great, but we have a lake, we have more to offer than a community that's just on I-43. And those are the things that if we look at where we wanna be 20 years, these are the things we need to do now.
Now, is there any plan to maybe advertise to get kids to open enroll from other districts?
We currently do. We do a lot with social media, we do a lot with, actually kinda it's called geofencing, where, we target parents where they're at, and then the next time they go on Google, something will pop up from that. We do that during open enrollment and things like that, so yeah, there's all kinds of, ways we're trying to share what what the Random Lake advantage is, and they go from there.
And on that note, then, do you guys offer transportation to bring kids here? Because I know there's been some districts where they bus you, or there's like a shuttle, or,
That wouldn't be, private schools can do that, public schools, can't bus outside of their zone, their area. So we have picked up students in our zone and asked parents to come here, and here's the farthest point, and we'll bring you the rest of the way. We've done that a couple times, but we don't go outside of our district to transport.
And we do have a little more flexibility with being able to do that since we have our own buses.
Yeah.
It's not a bus service. So that's nice
That is,
if
yeah.
we do have those requests.
Anything else? We'll make sure we give you enough time since Gia has made special time for us.
That's it for now, I wanna see what we get in the mail and
Yep.
look at that.
And if you can't make it on Friday, email me. I'd be more than happy to sit down sometime. We can sit in my office, we can talk about it too. Because, you know, I put in the letter, the best referendums are ones that are celebrated, like, okay, this is what we need. The board's listening, we're listening to those wants. This is maybe a want, this is a need, maybe we cut some of the wants out and keep the needs. That's what we really need right now. So, how this is gonna look, I can tell you, I'm not really sure exactly how it's gonna look, cause we need to hear from you guys first, so. Make sure all of your friends, you tell them to vote, you know? And, we will share the survey results, and we will craft our referendum question or questions from there.
I do have one question. Would the board, or any of the board members consider going to other community groups? Are local community groups involved? I mean, I'm not asking, I'm just,
Well, we've done that in the past, that we've gone out to like fire departments and the village meetings and the
Yeah.
town meetings and,
that's pretty good.
yeah, I think, that
Once
would
we have the
come
plan-
after the
yep.
survey, like,
Yep.
once we get the language, you know, if we're moving forward, with the results of the survey, then that's when we'd start planning those types of meetings.
Yep. Yeah, this is still way early. Once we get the survey back and we say, okay, this is what the community support, then if you have a community group, give me a time and date and I'd be there and we share, this is what our plan is and this is what you get and this is why and then we'll, you know, we'll have some pretty pictures of what it could look like and what it can look like and go from there once we know exactly what we'd be doing.
The questionnaire has a really nice picture of what you're talking
Yep.
about doing too, and it's labeled with what's new and what's changed. I think it's well done.
Okay? If you think of something else before you leave tonight, just let us know. We could go back to that.
We're an open book here, yes.
All right, thank you. Now we have board committee reports. Policy committee. We met and we have a couple first readings on the agenda later. Then we have the budget committee. Mike, do you wanna?
Yes, we will be talking about some budget, we will be approving defeasance later on. And we just talked a little bit about how our insurance actually came back favorably for the first time in 5 years. And our budget, I'm trying, do you have a budget later on in the fall? Yeah, quarterly, yes, that'll come later on.
Okay, and administrative and support staff also met tonight.
We discussed the new support staff compensation model and approved it during our meeting. And then I think we're all set to go on that, right? We don't need to discuss it further.
Oh, well, I think,
Will it be on the agenda? Oh, yeah,
Later
Yep.
in the agenda.
yeah,
Okay.
there it is.
and the administrator discussion is on the agenda too, so we can talk about that later on too.
Okay, great. And building reports, Susan?
Okay. So to get started, Strong Classrooms, summer curriculum. So across the district, elementary, middle, high school, we have several departments that are gonna be coming in over the summer to continue working on their standards work. All the departments had it open to them to put in, and so they really want to do this well. So we have several that are coming in, putting in 1 to 2 days over the summer to work. So we're excited to continue that work with them. Spring diagnostics, elementary and middle completed their spring exact math diagnostic, and from K-5, I mean, we saw really great growth in the scores. So we'll be excited to share those once we get the full aggregate. But the kids really did a great job, and I mean, they jumped in their growth from fall to spring. And then just wanted to share out that Random Lake High School, we ranked number 4 in the Sheboygan, Wisconsin metro area according to U.S. News and World Report. So we were very proud of that, as well as having our highest ACT score in the last 4 school years. So again, doing some really good work there at the high school. Strong culture. Teacher Appreciation Week, we just wanted to give a big shout out to the PTO. They really just did an outstanding job supporting the teachers and recognizing them, as well as the district level. So the staff was very appreciative of that. Walk for Ukraine, middle school did this as their community fundraiser, and they raised over $17,000 to donate to the Walk for Ukraine. It was pretty neat seeing all the kids and different community members that came or were walking on the track. And then just on Friday, a station from Green Bay, I can't remember the station, but they came down and interviewed some of our kids talking about the Walk for Ukraine, and that aired Sunday morning at 6:30 for anyone who set their DVR. But we do have a link for you if you would like to see that, but that was pretty neat as well. They did a great job. Kids Heart Challenge, this is the elementary, it used to be the old jump rope for heart, and now they just call it the Kids Heart Challenge, where they do a variety of different activities focused on just overall wellness, so they're going to be embarking on that this week. End of the school year activities, K-12, we've got a variety of field trips going on, we've got the high school art trip going tomorrow. Middle school's got Camp Waikota. I think it's 3rd or 4th grade is going there as well. So in the next 2 weeks, we've got a variety of trips planned for students. 8th grade triathlon is going to be kicking off next week, Thursday. We're hoping it's not nearly as cold as it was last year. It was quite freezing. But I think kids are impervious to that in the water. Kickball tournament for 5th and 6th grade will be next Thursday afternoon. They really have a good time with that. And then we're going to add a special twist, I think, against a staff team, so that'll be kind of fun. Field days. Elementary field day is Friday, and middle school field day is Thursday. So we're having both of those coming up this week. Next, ACER promotion, so we're all set for that on the 27th at 8 o'clock. And looking for a nice event there. Move Up Day transition activity. So this was something new that we did this year, this middle school. It occurred today, and what we had was every grade level, so 4th grade came up to 5th grade, 5th to 6th, 6th to 7th, 7th to 8th, and 8th went up to the high school, and they spent 1 period learning about that transition. So at high school, they had a variety of stations with different kids that came down, presenting, talking about high school life, clubs, activities, classes, that kind of thing. And then the middle school with the fourth graders coming up, they were able to see the classrooms and actually experience some lessons and ask questions. So we did that for each grade level today as a new way to try to hit the transition and get the students ready and acclimated, and also less nervous, especially with our eighth grade going up to high school. They always have a little bit of anxiety that goes with that. So that, so far was a very successful day, so we try to look to continue doing more of that in the future. And then high school student recognition assembly, that is set for this Thursday at 8 o'clock. Last year we did it in the gym, but this year we're gonna try it in the auditorium and see how that works. But that's where we'll be recognizing all of the different awards from the different departments and athletics, as well as our NHS inductees. And parents are invited to come see that as well. And then we'll end with the senior signing. And so that'll go from 8 to 9:30, and then right behind that, we'll start graduation practice at 9:30. 10:30 will be the senior walk, and this year will be the first time our high school students will be joining us in the hallways on the senior walk. And that was at a couple of requests of the seniors that had come to me and asked if the high schoolers could attend. And it's open to the public as well. We're, lining up outside. It was really a nice walk last year, so we're expanding it a bit to include the high school. So looking forward to that. Strong community connection, school career day. So this was something new that CISA 7 came out with this year. They had 5 different careers, so like DNR, there was a doctor, there was someone from aviation, so they had a variety of careers, and they geared it towards the elementary up to 5th grade. And so they zoomed in with them, and really our 5th grade was really engaged in it, found it a lot of fun. Probably a whole day, our feedback to them was try to break it up into 2 half days, because by the last hour or so, they were kind of tired. And then we also talked about adding in, so like one of them, they were talking about solar power. And we thought, we could break it up and then we could take them up to show them some of our, the things that we have, so that way we can connect more. So it was really a neat time, and they're going to do more of that in the future. Scholarship celebration, we had that last week, was really a great event. Over close to $250,000 that was given out in scholarships, so really thankful for the community that we have. They really do a lot for our students. Conservation fair, most in attendance to date. So this was the largest conservation fair that we've had, and Natalie was super excited about the showing, as well as how much they were able to fundraise for that. And then Inspire Wisconsin hiring event. This was an event that Julie Hausner out of the school counseling office, she arranged to take a group of sophomores out there, and they really had a great time. It was a good event where they could see about potential careers moving forward. And then lastly, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't forget some student recognition. So state forensics winners, we had Amy who received a gold, Kinsey a silver, Maria silver, and then Abby and Jolie both bronze, so they did a great job with state forensics. State solo ensemble, we had over 20 students participating in a variety of events. Some were individual, some were group ensembles, and we had 10 first place winners and 13 second place winners. They did very well at state. Middle school student council, 7th graders organized the Walk for Ukraine. They called area businesses asking for donations. They went out there, they wrote thank you letters, so they really did a great job organizing that and getting the donations for that. And then last, Big East Scholar Athletes. So these students were recognized this year, these seniors. We have Blake, Will, Erica, Mitchell, Carly, and Catherine that were all recognized as our Big East Scholar Athletes for the year.
Great. Thank you. Any questions?
You said that the high school assembly that's Thursday morning or Friday morning?
Thursday.
Thursday, but then the graduation walk is on Friday, right?
Thursday.
Oh, it's on Thursday?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. I was like, I was trying-
It follows the, their graduation practice.
Practice is on Thursday too. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next, we have the first reading of policy 5460, the graduation requirements. This came up because we had a couple parents that requested us to look at these to look at this policy in a couple different areas. One was Phi Ed, and one was the 7th and 8th grade high school credits for taking high school classes. And so policy came up with some new wording that would allow athletes to participate based on a case-by-case basis in out-of-school activities that could still be counted as a Phi Ed credit. Whereas before, we didn't allow that. So then we had students that take high school classes like math, some of the math classes or science classes that would get a high school credit, but it would be an elective. And now we're allowing them to have those credits as actual math or science credits.
We did ask about a little, and since we have Susan here, in the committee meeting, the first part of that made sense, where 7th and 8th grade students been designated gifted and talented. That second statement, can you explain, I could not get my brain around why that was, and I know we talked about it.
I mean, for the subject accelerated?
The credits earned in courses that do not fit the criteria outlined in the preceding paragraph, or courses taken by students who are not designated as gifted and talented or subject accelerated will be counted as elective. What's the clarification on that? I could not remember in our committee meeting.
Oh, I think that we're looking at, both retro, we have a couple students that because of the schedule at that time, it was the AB schedule, it didn't necessarily match the middle school schedule at that time. So because they would be in an accelerated math course on the A day, then they put them in like a different course on the B day to even out the schedule. It was more of a scheduling piece, so it's kind of looking at this as retroactive. Moving forward, we don't do that anymore. We really are specific to what that accelerated course or need is. And we do project-based learning and other activities on the opposite day. So I know it was really more looking at back retroactively on that piece, if that makes sense. And it's really probably 2 kids right now that it will impact.
And this change will impact them positively anyways.
Positively.
They were in high school, from middle school and high school, taking this class, but to make it fit, we had to put another high school class. That other class will always be elective, because it's just kind of.
And it wasn't that they hadn't accelerated or gifted and talented need in that area. They did it because of the scheduling piece at that time.
Okay, I knew it was something, but I couldn't think exactly what it was.
So tonight is just the first reading, and
Yeah.
next month it'll be on for a second reading and vote.
Katie, did you have a question?
Well, yeah, so, but do we wait till second reading to ask questions?
No, go
Okay,
ahead.
all right, sorry. So I guess I don't understand why we would limit, like, if a student isn't in gifted and talented, right? That might be that they chose not to go into the program and so, like, I guess I don't know how GT works exactly here, but
Oh,
like,
no, that's a good question.
like, yeah, why would we not give them credit for math if they took a math class, if they're not officially in the program, or whatever?
Yeah, so no, that's a very good question, because that's why they say and/or subject accelerated, because we're moving away from the traditional sense that we identify students as GT. Because we think all students may, all depending where they're at, some may just excel more in math or this or that. That's where the subject acceleration comes in, because our model of programming is changed from you need this GT identification to if you're showing exceptionality in academic progress in math, ELA, or science, we're going to be wrapping a variety of supports around you, which could include accelerated up to the next year's level in that course. And so that gives it where you don't need a GP label. This is more encompassing of any student and where their needs are at that time.
So anybody who, like if somebody's taking an ELA high school student class in 8th or 7th grade even or something, they would automatically be classified as subject accelerated then?
Right.
Okay, I get it, thank you.
Good question.
Any others? You'll have a chance to ask more questions next month too, before we actually take a vote, so. Or if you come up with something and you wanna know ahead of time, go ahead and make the call. All right, we have a resolution to authorize the transfer of funds established for the escrow account with respect to and the defeasance of certain of the general obligations refunding bond series 2015B dated November 30th, 2015. Now, who wants to explain that? Is that you, Patty?
This is just, you're just agreeing that we're going to defease this money right now. That's what you have to vote. We're going to be putting the $913,878 away for defeasance. That, I do want to say that I got a report from Baird, and we're saving $94,000 of interest by defeasing this money right now. That's what we're saving this year.
What does defeasing mean?
So-
We're repaying our debt, and because they're in bonds, we can't pay them off yet, so they have to put it into an escrow account till they come due, or their call. So we're by prepaying the debt, we're saving $94,000 this year.
I like that
Prepaying might be a
It's
better
a
word.
word I learned.
Right.
At a conference in my years left, I was like, what can I do, what do I do? So it's a good thing that we're getting rid of the debt ahead of time. Saving money is always. Yeah.
So is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Rainey, is there a second?
I'll second.
Amy, any further questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
If you ever want a 101 on school finance, let's sit down for 3 hours and Patty and I will get you up to speed on it.
They'll get you started.
Wait till after graduation is done, then we'll, this summer,
So I Googled defeasance or whatever yesterday, still didn't remember what.
Yeah.
uh,
Okay, next we have hourly support staff compensation scheduled for 2022 to 2023.
So we met tonight and we discussed the new support staff compensation model and approved it with the new 4.71% increase.
we approved to bring it to here so it can get voted on in the
Ah.
board meeting here. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So,
And that's CPI?
So, all the lanes, just a quick little, reminder on this. CPI being 4.71 and having that, it gave us a chance to really kind of clean some things up and increase every one of the cells, every one of our employees will be getting at least, 4.71. Some of them will be in the 5 ranges, just on how they fell in the cells. So we use this opportunity to make sure that, every one of our staff were getting paid fair market, what they're worth for these areas. And also gave them a very clear and transparent pathway on what they would be making if they dedicate 1 to 2 all the way to 20 years into our district. So, in talking to our support staff, they're very elated with how we put together a plan on how and what everybody will be making.
Are these numbers like comparable to surrounding districts?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And in some places, I think we're right in a good spot.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say
Not
we're.
at the top, not at the bottom?
Yep, exactly, exactly.
Is there a motion to approve? Amy,
I'll make a motion.
is there a second? Katie? Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have support staff substitute pay.
So normally, we wouldn't have to bring substitute pay for support staff to the board, but since we're changing the compensation model, we thought we'd just make it a action here. And we had a really good question in committee. A lot of these sub pay are the same amount as the base pay for these positions. And there's 2 other things. If you're a member of our, staff, you have other benefits, you have retirement, you have these other things. For as tough as it is to find subs, and I'm not even saying we're gonna find subs at this rate anyways, at least this hourly rate, will incentivize some to come. So, if you're wondering why is it the same, if you're on full-time, or you're in part of the district, you're making more than just that with all the other benefits available.
All right, is there a motion to approve? Katie? Is there a second?
Second.
Rini, any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Budget? Do you have anything you want to say on that, Patty?
You guys should have your quarterly reports in front of you, they're through March 31st. I'm feeling really good right now, we're very much on track to where we need to be according to our budget. Do you have any questions?
I seen daycare was at 102% already in revenues, so that looked good.
Does anyone have any?
Activity is a little bit behind on the revenue, but that's just the way that they get paid. They can't claim till the end of the month, so we're always behind a month or so, so they're on track also.
Great. Any questions? All right, thank you, Patty. And do we just skip 14, which is?
We say
COVID?
nothing to update, continue on.
Okay. No questions. Is that a statement or a question?
Yeah.
We have our potential graduates, our list. Anything you want to say about that, Susan?
They're doing a great job this year. I think they're looking forward to Friday.
Does anyone want to make a motion? Would that be you, Katie, with the seniors?
Sure. Move approval of that list.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Rini, any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Well, I look forward to seeing them all on Friday.
Yeah, I know, me too.
What if we did vote them down? Can we do that?
You can have that kind of power. Yeah.
That'd be kind of fun to go home.
You go
after
back
that,
home and say,
like,
you know what I did today? You were graduating because of me.
Best mom ever.
Yeah, exactly. Nominations being accepted.
We have a approval of a continuation of participation in a 660301 agreement with Cedar Grove, Belgium, and Oostburg for providing occupational services to identified Random Lake students. This is a service that we share, and we have to approve this on a yearly basis. To continue in this, is there a motion to approve? Amy, is there a second?
I'll second.
Rini?
Yeah, there's only really 3 of you that can. Just keep rotating around.
Any questions or discussion on that?
If just the 6603, we're really lucky that the districts around us, we like each other and we collaborate and cooperate. So this and Amy, we have great staff that wouldn't be full-time without us, without that kind of collaboration. So both of these are just fantastic options.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Did we vote on this? I just had a brain
Yep.
fart.
Yep.
We'd already voted? Okay.
Oh, no, you
Did
got
we
first and
vote?
second, no, you got first and second, you didn't vote yet. You need to vote yet.
Sorry. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. You're on the same level with me, Amy.
Well,
Yeah.
I thought you were referring to the first and second one.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You got them.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have another 660301 agreement for food service director with Sheboygan Falls. We share Amy with them. Again, this is something we have to do every year. Is there a motion to approve? Rini, is there a second? Katie, any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed?
Did you just kids get an award too?
Motion
or
carried.
She did, yep.
Yeah?
Excellence in education. She got it through Sheboygan Falls nominator, so that
Okay.
was, there was a little bit of a, oh, we didn't even know about it till like just recently, but we did get it on Facebook, so yes. She is fantastic. If you knew what Amy has gone through to make sure that we feed kids, especially over the last 2 years, she deserved everything. She deserves 10 awards.
Yeah. Then we have a notification of early graduation applicants. Mike, is this you or Susan gonna give us a little? Susan,
Susan, you wanna,
the early graduation applicants?
Oh, yeah, we had 2 students, that requested, and, they're right in line with where they need to be. So, yeah, they're both good students working here.
Okay. And will we see them again, like, later?
yeah, so
like-
the early graduation means they'll be here next semester, but they won't be here the second semester of their senior year. So doing
Is that
this,
something we have to vote on, or is this just, we have the criteria out there and they
Yep.
need it and it's all good?
You're just notified.
you just
Yeah.
notify, yeah.
Okay,
So, and, you know, this is such, just another way, there's some kids that are just, I'm done. Some are like, hey, I'm gonna enlist, I wanna do it sooner. Some are, I have a job, you know, there's different ways for our
I think
kiddos
both
to
of these,
navigate.
Yeah, both of these have jobs already lined up, so they're gonna be able to finish first semester, and they're gonna go right into.
great.
So do they walk then in May with the class? And can they be on sports teams and stuff if they've already, like if they graduate early, that means no spring or
No,
winter?
no spring,
sports?
yeah. And I think what we maybe had a handful in my time here, you know, so 2 is actually the most. Usually it's 1 that we've had, so yeah. But, you know, it's the time of the conditions. You see what the job market is right now, well, I can go get a full-time job, heck, you know.
Great.
Wish I was that smart at 18.
All right, next we have school fees. We approve these every year.
So we do have Chris and Laura here, and I know there were some questions that Rini had about the fees, and just some of the calculations and such. So Rini, did you wanna
Do we wanna get a motion first,
Oh.
or do we,
Yeah.
before we get into full
do motion?
discussion?
I'm sorry, got ahead of
Okay.
myself.
Is there, that's all right, I was behind, so.
We make a good team.
Is there a
Yeah.
motion to approve fees?
Sure.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Amy? All right, discussion.
Strange, we approved before we know what we're approving.
Well, we're just, yeah.
Well, you can always vote it down
Yeah.
and redo it, but to have discussion, you should have a motion.
Sure.
I know. Okay, have at it. What's the discussion?
I called Mike with a couple of questions, just wondering, like, how these numbers for the proposed pricing came about. I noticed a big change in the infant room on 2 days a week, and that was the biggest change in pricing. And I couldn't find a formula to how it happened, so I didn't know if it was,
So
What was
I
based on?
started out, with the 225 and I went up about 8%. And then I did that kind of across the board for the 186. But our 2-day a week was really low. So that's why I, came up with about 145. Our 130, for the 2 days for the infant and for the 2-year-old was the same for each classroom. So, I bounced it back and forth with Laura. I was like, okay, I need to change the rate, between the infant and the, the 2 to 4-year-old room. So, she's like, obviously infant should be more at the 145 and, she's like, let's keep the, 2 at the 135, the 2 to 4-year-old is the 135. So, you want to encourage parents to bring their kids to daycare more days over the less days, and that's why we want to increase, if they're going to come 2 days, well, then you're going to pay more for, the 145 is, so was it early? Yes, that's what it was, yeah, and so, yeah, the other piece is you always, when you're figuring your rates, your 2 days or 3 days or whatever days are typically gonna be more than coming full-time because you have to fill that slot. So a child will take up a slot for just 2 days a week where you're not able to fill it. Like you may not be able to fill a slot for a 5-day week, and that's the ideal scenario. So typically you will pay a little bit more.
If my current for infant is 130, I don't know why it says 110, because it is 130.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that helps, because it was more
Yeah.
than $2 an hour, and I
Yeah,
thought someone with the
it is
hourly
130.
wage, that's a
It's
big,
not 110, it is 130 for 2 days a week.
Okay.
So,
okay.
yeah. And so it is, so, yeah. But, so I did need to change that a little bit in that infant, and, because they're like, oh, well, I think I'm pregnant and doing the same price I'm paying for a 2-year-old, I needed to change that a little bit, but you wanna include in 2 more days, that is fair, so.
How does this compare to other daycares in the community? Is this gonna, are we gonna lose some families because of the change?
I don't think so. I, of course, looked at that. I compared it to St. John's and St. John's Sherman Center. I compared it to Fredonia daycares. There's a couple like Church One, and then there's another site or whatever, and we were real comparable. So I don't want to be, completely over everybody, but about 8%-ish, and since I've been here, this is only our second price rate that we've ever had. I started out, I took over for Laura, it was $3.60 for my before and after school kids, and we jumped up to $4 maybe 5 years ago.
Yep, it was like my first year, we
Yeah, when
increased
I first
prices.
started. So we've only had 2 price adjustments since I've been here in 10 years. So, only the second time, or, being the third time that we ever raised rates. So,
The question that I had was that the 3K, 3 days, like more than doubled. Are those numbers accurate? It's 3K preschool 3 days was 31, 32, now 65.
well, because we're gonna do it we're gonna offer it Monday through Thursdays. And right now, it's $42 for 3 days. That's not correct either. For 3 days, I think that was our pricing maybe 2 years ago. For 4 days, or for 3 days, it's $42 a week. And so if they come 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, we're gonna do it for $65. So I think it's $16.25 per day.
So you'll have a 3K that's a 4-day week
Yes.
Okay.
Monday
It's
through-
easy enough to say.
for 65.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
And right now it's 3 days for 42, which is like 15, a little under $15, so it's like $2.25 difference.
Okay.
Chris, you have the sheet in front of you? So is that really that it's the 3 days completely going away, right? And the 4 days
Yeah,
the
we're
only
gonna try to
one?
offer it, a lot of preschools do it Monday through Thursday, a lot of them do it Monday through Friday. But when we've offered it Monday through Thursday, a lot of parents rather do it Tuesday through Thursday, but it's more consistent when you do it Monday through Thursday, so that's what we're gonna try to push for. We'd like to do it Monday through Friday, but we don't get that feedback from the parents. If we could just offer it 4 days, it's more consistency for those kids to do half day, to get them ready to go on to 4K, to jump into 5 days 4K, which is a consistent thing to do. So, but a lot of parents were not just ready to go, especially after COVID and then this, so we're hoping next year we'll see where it's gonna be out of picture and then we'll be ready to jump into 4 days a week. It's just more consistency for the kids, so.
And what does 4 days a week cost now? The 3
We
days
don't
was.
offer 4
oh, you
days
don't
right now.
offer.
We only offer Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at $42.
And then are you getting rid of half days in the infant room? Is that why those all say NA?
Over my half-day rate for 4 days a week.
For
For the
infants.
infant room.
Oh, for infants, we don't offer a half-day rate for our infants. It's easier to staff with full days.
And just so you know, for infants, the ratio of infant is 6-to-1, right? Oh, 4-to-1, okay, well, I was even wrong, so it's 4-to-1. So if you break this down by hour, it's about $6 an hour, for an infant. So if we have all 4 in there, that means the district's collecting $24 an hour for students, and that $24 an hour should be to pay for that staff member, the staff member, and all the benefits, unemployment insurance, all those other things that go into it, plus heating, plus lighting, plus a building. You know, if you start looking at it through those lenses, we lose money on our infant at these rates yet. So, but it's a great way for our community to you know, get here, start getting used to coming here, and have our littlest Rams, you know, someday walk on Friday and graduate from here. So just know these prices put us, when we raised the rates in our daycare to pay people what other people were offering them to pull them away from us, this is that second piece of that, of trying to make sure that everybody knows that we're all in this together.
And the before and after school, if I did my math right, it looks like it's an 18% increase.
From 4 to 475.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I started, it was at 360, and we went up to 4, and we have not raised our rates in a really long time.
Okay.
We just thought that 475 was, I mean, we can surely do 450 to kind of start it out, and then, I don't know, I think 475 is really cheap for before and
Is it? Okay, I don't know. It just
Yeah.
seems like a big jump for working
It
parents.
may seem like a big jump, but you were kind of low before.
Okay.
Typically, most of the centers around here are charging between $5 to $6 an hour
Okay.
for school. You have, I mean, you think it's just before and after school, but you're feeding some of them breakfast, you're feeding them snacks, so you still have that expense coming in. They come at the end of the day, so you have to account for a different type of staffing and all of that type of thing. So the 475 is still very, very reasonable for the area.
Are there any other questions?
So I guess it's just stuff on the infant room thing, but so it says 150 a week for half days currently, but
Yeah,
is
we
that
don't
just, you
do
just
it.
didn't really do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't do.
And then for the drop-ins, do you do that, and how do you deal with, like, what if you have staff there?
We do say that we take drop-ins or whatever, if, you know, if there's a parent that needs it, we'll do it. There isn't a whole lot of, you know, parents that need the infant drop-in rate or whatever, but we have it out there if parents were to need it. But obviously, we have 4 babies and they're all, you know, right now we have 4 babies in there.
So then no drop-ins, okay.
Yeah, we can't do it, we just, you know, we have it, you know, if ever were to not, you know, I mean, I can always go in there, whatever, you know, if something were to ever arise.
Any other questions? It looks like the other fees are remaining the same. So just daycare had updated rates. All right, any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for coming and explaining.
Thank you both.
Staff resignation. We just have one?
Just one, yep.
Just one. And we do have an action on this. Is there a motion to approve the, to accept the resignation of Elise Sandow and thank her for her 1 year of service to the district?
Make a motion.
Rainey, is there a second? Katie, any questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Open enrollment. Do you have anything to say on this?
You know, as you look at it, you know, I think, I looked at the numbers before.
You need to,
Yeah, I have those. So if you look at, you see 15 open enrollment applications in, 20 out. We have with ours, some of the open enrollment out are actually special ed students, which in this area, mostly of those get denied. And even with where our numbers are, we'll deny the open enroll in special ed. So the numbers really this year are 15 and 14. So I would say that kind of in and out, that's healthy. You know, you're gonna have some that wanna leave for different reasons, some that are leaving somewhere else for other reasons. So, yeah, no. And the highlighted ones on here, on your sheet, those are ones as an out, you can apply for multiple districts, and then we see that. So that's showing, showing that some of those were multiple, one person that did multiple districts.
okay?
I know this is a generalization, but aren't we like, you know, are we specialized in a lot of special education here? Like, isn't that what Randall Lake does a lot of special education? So what they becoming here?
Well,
Leaving?
A few years ago, we switched it because we were getting a lot of high dollar students that were costing our taxpayers, you know, big amounts. So we've gone to, with open enrollments, the last 4 years, we set caps every February. Is that February board
January,
meeting?
February.
January board meeting, we
I think
set.
she's asking more though, why would people leave our district
Oh.
with special ed? Is that what you were asking?
Oh, is that what that's what you're asking?
Since we do such a,
Every one of them, you know what, everybody has a reason, it's a different reason. Some, could be, I'm thinking of two, it has to do with, clashes with other peers and things like that, and trying to, a fresh start. You know, there's, for every one of those, there's a reason there, and, yeah, no, it's, you know, sometimes, especially our students with disabilities are the ones that we work the hardest with, and sometimes that isn't something, you know, you're held accountable, and looking at going somewhere that isn't as accountable. Yeah, no, there's many, many reasons.
is there a motion to approve?
Sure.
Katie, is there a second? Amy? Any questions or discussion?
Gina?
What?
There needs to be a motion to approve except for the special ed, in, so that would be
The special,
application 0486111
Dash three? to deny.
Because they're special ed and we have no special ed spaces.
Right, because we've set those limits. Katie, you wanna amend your
Sure.
motion to?
Motion to be what we're supposed to say. I mean,
To accept
support
and
the
deny.
administration recommendation, I guess. on
Yeah,
it.
there you go.
There you go.
And Amy?
And I second.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, you're up.
Couple quick things here. First of all, May 20th, from 2 to 5, as I said earlier, I'll be at Midway Eats. So please stop in if there's anybody else after you get your surveys, come in. Looking at just kinda, hanging out there and see who shows up. So I used to do this in the morning at Kathy's, trackside. I'm trying to do something in the afternoon to see if people wanna pop in after work and, go from there. So, Midway Eats has been fantastic. We did some catering over staff appreciation. They've been great to us, so if you haven't had their barbecue beef tacos, I highly suggest them. So, next, graduation, as you know, it's gonna, I think last time I looked, it's not gonna be a steaming hot day. It looks like a nice, beautiful day. We'll be in the gym, we'll be packing the house, and looking forward to 6:30 for that. Last week, you know, we've been doing a lot of things about trying to send messages to our staff, send messages, not to our staff, but to our students, to our community, that this is a safe place. And last week we had the opportunity to be a training site for the local municipality police departments to bring their dogs in. So the It was the Sheboygan PD and the Sheboygan Sheriffs came in with the canines, coordinated by Officer Tross, to do a search. It's something that we haven't done here since I've been here. This is the first year we're doing it. We didn't have any hits, but it was just another message that that kind of stuff doesn't come here. So, I just by chance, ran into one of the officers that came here, and he, in the community later on, and thanked us and said, you know, most schools don't have the guts to go check the parking lot because they know what they're gonna find. And, he's like, you're the first one we've done in quite some time, and, appreciate it. He's like, you know, if I had a kid in the area, I would send him there because it shows that you're taking it seriously. So, it's high regards from a law enforcement that does that on a regular basis. And, the last thing I'm gonna put on your radar, we're gonna bring it next month. We made a boo-boo on spring break. We even have in our handbook that the spring break is always the last full week of March unless Easter falls in the first week of April. Well, if you look at April next year, April 1st is a Saturday. So when you look at it visually, the first week of April looks like it's, you know, the 3rd through that, so we put spring break the first week of April. Well, everyone else considered April 1st as the first week, so it's a one-day week in April. So we actually have to move it back to the last week of March. So we'll bring that in front of you on all the little
What day
changes.
is Easter?
Easter is the 9th.
So
Or
we're
the
moving it
8th.
away from being the week before Easter?
Yes. Cause that's what we have in our handbook, that's the general rule, is the last full week of March unless Easter's the first week of April. And technically, because it's a Saturday, April falls in the second week of April.
Easter falls in the second.
Easter falls in the second week of April. If you look at it, it's,
Because Easter kind of starts on Friday. Is that why?
no, it has to do that, the first week of April is a Saturday, and that's, the first week is a one-day week. The second week starts on the 3rd of April.
I guess maybe for the next meeting, like some clarity on what the purpose of the policy is?
Oh, I can tell you that.
Okay.
Because it's a hot mess before that.
Hmm.
Like, because Easter moves around all the time.
Right.
So people can't plan, and it was, you know, we'd have spring break in March, we'd have spring break the end of April, and people were not happy about that. And then we even tried you know, one year you had a full week of spring break, and then the next year you'd only have like 3 or 4 days for spring break. And that didn't go over well, we had that for several years. So then we came up on this, that if we do it like that, then it is, you know when it is.
Consistent, yeah.
And that it's, I don't know, lack of a better word, more equal where time off is. Like you can, in the calendar, because time off in each quarter is, you try to keep the number of days like the same. So they have the number of classroom time kind of equal for every quarter. So that way you could plan that. But, yeah, that was the reason. And then you have like these weeks, and I'm kind of thinking, like, I don't know, I'm not buying that might be the first week, but I don't know if we've had that problem in the past.
Yeah, I don't
recall that.
remember the last time it
But
was like that.
That seems like to say that that's the first week is
And-
one day.
And to
but I
look
don't
at
know.
it, it's also, this agreement was come up with other schools as a way, because we have teachers that have their kids here that work in other districts and vice versa and all those other things. So it's one of those ways to show that this area, majority of the districts follow that rule. And as everybody was coming out with their calendars, it was a parent who works here who has a kid in another district said, hey, and that's how they came up, was really that. So it's a couple of things that we're trying to do as a group of districts that move together, and now I'm the oddball out because I didn't consider Saturday the first week.
One of the other big reasons that we went to that to be consistent was for busing reasons, because we have to bus the private schools. So if we had different spring breaks, then we had to pay that busing just for that school, and we were out or in, or, so then we all got on the same page and said, okay, let's do it this way. And it's been working.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really paid that much attention.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's not any talk of not having Good Friday and Easter Monday off, so really, that will always be a break, even though it's only a week after spring break.
Good Friday will still be off. The Monday after, I'm not sure if we have a staff, sometimes we do staff development on that day, so I'd have to look at that.
And I don't think that's in policy. I don't think the Easter.
Good Friday is a
Good.
paid holiday. Monday after
but
Easter isn't
it's
anything in
not a-
policy or anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was something that administration just tried to
Yep.
figure out to make that a nice weekend. So, that's the history on that, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Everything has a history. In schools. Okay.
Anything else for Mike? Oh, okay, you got a question for us?
Yeah, just a quick question. The other day when the police were here for the lockdown,
Mhm.
there was a group of kids that were in the auditorium during that, and they were not informed of what was going on. They were rather terrified of what was going on.
Oh.
Is there some kind of a policy in place that every kid should be accounted for in the case of a lockdown?
It should have been, so that group was there. I did get an email on it, and it sounds like, you know, the guys did what they're supposed to, you know,
Yeah.
and stay locked down, because you don't know what's going on. It just, I think in the bus, so we purposely tried to make, this is the first time we've done it, try to make it so we could find some of the holes in
Yeah.
what we're doing, so that was definitely one of those
Yeah,
holes,
that
so.
should be number one, account for every child when you have a lockdown situation.
Right, right.
Really nervous.
Yeah.
But he's okay.
Yeah,
It's
he's
fine,
fine,
it's
fine.
because nothing really happened
No.
that day.
But I mean,
But
he's
if there
like,
was
he's okay, he
something,
understands,
nobody
and
was
he's, okay,
coming through
that's
and
fine.
accounting for every child in a, what potentially what could have been an emergency situation.
Right. I think what freaked him out the most was seeing the police with the dogs.
Yeah.
And I'm a
And not knowing what
military,
was going on.
right, I'm a military brat, so I've talked about my experiences with
Okay.
this. So he's heard, so he's thinking, they're bombs, they're, you know.
Okay.
So I think that was, we just didn't know what was going on, so. You guys didn't warn the kids or anything.
It
Which
kinda
is
goes against the
typical.
drugs.
Well, I understand that,
But-
No, I was just, yeah, so,
Yeah.
so that's, you know, and we didn't, nobody knew, I mean, besides the three of us, between Officer Tross, Susan and I, we're the only three in the entire district that knew, so yeah, so that was, it's a good opportunity to see, hey, what happens in emergencies, so, you know.
Yeah,
find those-
'cause can't have missing kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
amen.
So it's just in the high school?
High school, middle school,
Oh, okay.
and parking lots, yeah.
Okay, wow, I'm impressed. That's really good. I'm proud of our district.
Yes.
Yeah.
Were the teachers aware that these kids were in the auditorium? Like, were the kids missing during this, or did?
It was,
What-
they were practicing for a band concert, it was the middle schoolers, and so they were in transition of moving, to the auditorium, so some kids were already there, and the band teacher was still with the rest, going to come, and then I called the whole.
Okay.
And so, the band teacher didn't, he knew they were there.
Yeah,
And-
there should be
and they-
some kind of a, that he can make a call and say, hey, there's kids in the auditorium.
Somebody
should have went.
notified.
Yeah, and I actually saw them, because I came up the back, and I was like, what are you guys doing? You know, and they're like, we're in here, and I said, just stay here, wait for the all clear, you know.
And then like an announcement, so I'm unfamiliar with lockdown, like you
Well, we
make an
just called
announcement
it
that
a-
says everybody stay where you are?
We called it a hold, and we say at this time, there's a hold in place, meaning all kids stay in the classroom and there's no movement about the building. Usually, we would say there's a medical hold, we would normally do those for like a medical situation if a student is having a medical emergency or a staff member, and they say there's a medical situation, everyone please hold in the classroom, so that way we don't have movement in the room or in the hallways. And then, we do an all clear. At this time, the hold is lifted, you are clear to move about the building per your regular schedule.
Okay, well, good to
Okay.
know.
Good to know, I didn't know you found them, that's good to know that,
Well, I saw
you
them
did.
peeking out the door and I was like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, I can imagine, jeez. Okay, so, the board needs to go into closed session as permitted under Wisconsin State Statutes, Chapter 19, Section 1985, 1C, to discuss personnel and staffing matters. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Motion.
Rainey, is there a second? Amy, this requires a roll call vote. Rainey?
Yes.
Amy? I say yes.